Hello, YouTube guitar man people, women. Look how spinny it is. Boss people, does the spinny thing come with it, or do I have to purchase that separately? Matt, what are you saying?
For you can have it. I'll send you one. I'll send you the spinny platform. Just so in the studio it can go round and round and round.
With the cables being entangled.
Well, we'll just put the cables through the centre.
Clever.
And then they won't get tangled then.
Well, I'm looking at, what's it called? The Boss.
Right, it's the Waza Tube Amp Expander.
The Waza Tube Amp Expander.
Yeah, so basically this is a reactive load system. Am I on camera here? I'm just down here.
How about we give the camera to Jamie?
Okay.
Because we did enough spinning. So, I mean, look, Jamie's not even paying attention.
Jay.
Let him do his thing. It's running. You're running. Okay. Well, get this thing and get us all in here. So I will say things that you can't say because, you know, you have the Boss shirt.
Sure.
So there's the Torpedo, live in studio. I got both. There's the aux, and that's something like it. And I'm hoping that it's an amalgam of the features that I'm missing in the Torpedo that the aux has, and a lot of the features that the aux doesn't have that the Torpedo has. I hope that this is kind of a best of both worlds, and maybe even more.
This kind of covers everything, basically. So first and foremost, reactive load system. Most reactive load systems on the market are one reactive load, one speaker type, right? This one has 16 analog reactive loads. So basically that means you can match your amp to a particular type of speaker load. So you've done a lot of hard rock, heavy metal. And when you plug in a Marshall cranked seeing a 112 is going to respond differently to a Marshall cranked into a 412 because of the way that the amp responds to the speaker and back again. So this means you can actually dial in the reactive load that suits your amp best.
I have to admit, I haven't experienced the difference with actual speed. It's something that I don't know what that would feel like, but I'm curious to see what it feels like because that can give me that experience.
That's exactly. As soon as you start messing around with it, it's more about the feel and response rather than, you're not going to tweak it and go, whoa, like this, it sounds slightly different. All you're getting is a more clearer response in between.
The frequencies are not going to change, but the way that it behaves is going to change.
Exactly.
So that's this whole section here, right?
The other advantage here is the attenuator is a continuous pot rather than being notched like a lot of other attenuators, so you can actually dial it.
A lot of other attenuators.
So you can go
on my other attenuator. I have to say I do like the notches a bit.
Yeah.
Because I just know how loud 3 is and how loud 2 is. On the other hand, you're right. Sometimes I want 2.5 and I can't get it.
Yeah, exactly. So you can actually dial that in. Then once you reach unity gain, there's a 100-watt solid-state power amp in there. So if you want to take a really small amp, make it louder and fire it through a big 412, you've got an extra 100 watts that you can stick through that as well.
And I'm not shitting you guys. I thought about this in the shower this morning. Not about you, Matt. Okay, because
that
would be wrong. But I was thinking about this, that I thought I had heard that there's a power amp in there. And I was thinking, well, you guys are going to say, well, solid state, no, it doesn't sound good. No, wait a second. All the sound has already been produced by your amp.
Yeah.
Your amp already made. Pre-amp, pow amp, all that stuff.
Yep.
Sound is done. Now we're talking about making it louder.
Exactly.
So it's not a transistor amp.
No, because it's sitting post your amp's power amp, all you're doing is just adding, it's like a secondary master volume. You're just adding more volume on top of the volume you've already got.
It's kind of like you're miking the amp and you're putting it through a PA, which also makes it quite a bit louder than it actually is.
Exactly.
With the difference that you are sending it into your cab.
Yeah.
So that at higher volume will behave differently than a PA. But in the end, it's not a transistor sound, it's just making the 2B sound that you have louder.
Exactly. So then...
And I really did think about that in the shower.
Me or the...
Yes, also you. Sure.
So on top of that, you move into the middle section. So what you've got here, if I can just...
I'm sorry, you move into the middle section.
So you've got an effects loop. So if you're using an old amp that's got no effects loop, you've got an effects loop here as well. You've then got, if I can remember the button controls, effects. There's some DSP in here, compressor, delay, reverb. But the nice thing is you can fire that into the cab. So rather than it just coming out the recording output, if you've got an old amp with no reverb, you want to dial in some spring, you can literally just do it on the front panel.
Okay, which the others don't have.
So,
and
that goes the same for the effects and the compressor as well. So you can fire all of that straight through the speaker cab, and it'll also come out the XLR outputs on the back. So you can fire it into the PA or your monitors for recording, but then you can also straight into the speaker.
So wait a second. Go away for a second. So on my aux, which I love, it has amazing delay and reverb, okay? I have the aux fed into a cab in the room, which I like to have on. But if I want to experience the delay and the reverb, I go to rig number 4 with my creamback. I can't. What comes out of the cab is dry. The delay and reverb comes out of my monitor speakers on my computer. So what I have to do is, I have the computer on to really have the affected sound. I have the cab on in the room to have, well, a cab loudy sound. And I always wish that there was a way to route those effects to the... Come back in here. I am intrigued, Mr. Boss.
So on top of that, you've then also got solo EQ boost. So effectively, you can drive your amp even harder. You can add in graphical parametric EQ, and then you've also got amp control output as well. So if you want to change channels on your amp, you can have all of that saved on your rig settings here. You've got 10 rig settings that's full MIDI controllable.
I was just going to say, does it have MIDI? Because I know another product that doesn't even have MIDI.
So yeah, it's all MIDI controllable. So if you want to have 2 rigs, one with reverb, one with delay and reverb, and change the channel, you can do that on the rig settings on the front. You can either use the foot switch or you can use the full MIDI control as well.
Let's look on the back, because you're getting me excited, Matt.
So first, you obviously go into your amp here. So you've got 3 power levels, 50, 100, 10, 50, and 100. You set it from your tube amp, and then you can go into 2 speaker cabs, your amp control output, foot switch, MIDI, effects loop, line out, including front of house line out.
Oh wait, it's got XLR?
Yeah.
That's wow, because I know a product I really like that doesn't have XLR.
Yeah, so you've got XLRs, and then you've got headphones as well. So if you just want to jam at home and want it to be silent just through headphones, which is great, and USB recording. So you can actually use this as a door control, record your amp straight in via USB, and then you've also got loop back as well for reamping.
You have 2 speaker outs.
Yep.
Okay. So obviously you need software to do all the stuff. Bluetooth?
No. It's all USB. It's all USB editor with PC or Mac.
Matt. No Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth?
No.
Boss is not the fan of the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth.
Well, I guess the thing is, maybe for some things it can drop out, or you can have issues. At least with USB, it's solid. It's a solid connection if you use it in the studio.
What if you just had both options? Because what if the other thing is not really a live box, okay? Because it's just not designed to be. This even looks as if it could be rack mounted in
It can.
Yeah. So I'm at a gig. Where's my laptop?
Yeah,
I don't have one, but I have my phone. I have my iPad.
That's why we put the reverb control on the front, because that's what most people are going to use a lot of the time. So at least if you're dialing it into the room, you can. With the 10 rig settings as well, you can have a few saved in for different situations.
As long as you know that I'm going to bitch about the fact that it doesn't have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi.
I'm fine with that.
You know I will,
I'm
right?
Fine with
you
that.
know I will.
I know.
Okay.
I know. And then finally, because you've got headphones and line out. So it's like having 3 volume controls on the front. One will fire to your speaker cab, one will fire to your monitors, and then one will fire to headphones.
One more thing. It's got a USB, I get that, but no digital out.
No SPDIF. Yeah. All XLRs straight into an interface, or
which is obviously cool. I do like the digital out on my aux. I gotta say this. I use the Torpedo and the aux. I would be really curious to see if I had all 3 in the studio, which one I would gravitate towards more.
I think that the key thing with this, and the key selling point with this, is the reactive loads. Because when you start to play with that, you really start to feel the difference under the fingers with your amps, especially at cranked volumes, because they do start to respond differently.
It's also which of these products you use depends on the feature set. Someone playing at home, which is kind of what the aux was made for, doesn't need all the ins and outs, which it doesn't have.
Yeah.
Whereas the Torpedo Studio has tons. It has ASEBU. It's a very professional box. So that's more of a pro tool.
Yeah.
This seems to have almost everything that one would be looking for.
Yeah.
So the way I'd be using it with pumping some of the effects into my cab, and I'm looking for that. Some of you might not, but you might be looking for, I have to have 2 cabs connected. This looks like it's taking in, I'm gonna say about 90% of the eventualities.
Yeah.
90% of the things that you might be doing. You might be using it completely differently than Jay and Matt and me. But I think with all the possibilities, you can. Like, I mean, look, I don't work for anyone. The aux doesn't have MIDI, which means live, it's one setting.
Mm-hmm.
People don't go drag it. It can't even be rack mounted. Universal Audio did not think about what if it's actually so good that people want to take it live.
Yeah, yeah. So we can rack mount it for you, and as I said, full MIDI control. So you've got a switching system. You can have it set up. You can have it set up for various different amps. It's easy to tune the reactive load on the front. So in the studio, at home, I think it's perfect.
So I can live with no digital. I'll hook it up USB, fine. I have a lot of USB hubs, fine. For you, Matt, I will do that. The one thing, and that is only personal, you guys don't get all uppity, and I hope Jay doesn't throw my camera away. I just don't think it looks very sexy.
Oh, I disagree. When it's turned on, it's all blue. I think it's lovely.
Is it?
It's all Boss blue, yeah. Everything like something.
We got one in like.
Well, we'll go in there then. Oh, this is a squishy floor. this is strange. Yeah, blue lights. Yeah. It looks the part. It is a tool, and it's a utility kind of a thing. It itself doesn't make a sound. No, it actually does. It has effects. What am I saying? But it looks like a good tool, whereas I'll say it all day long. Whereas the aux, with the wooden something, it looks this is not necessarily something that I would welcome big time in my living room, whereas I think that's what the aux was made for. But you made this for musicians, not lawyers playing a Morgan, a beautiful Joe Morgan 320. And by the way, have you guys seen Joe's the 5?
So Joe's actually lent this to us for the booth, and we're actually using this cranked and then using the 100-watt power amp to give us more volume as well. So this now becomes a giggable piece of equipment. You can use it at home, low volumes, but then you could take it this
is a pretty phenomenal amp.
It sounds wicked.
He wants to call it 5, and I say call it the 5.
I agree. I'll talk to him about
it. please. Hey, Henning was here, and I agree. Please say that, because I think the 5 is much better than 5.
Yeah. And
it sounds great.
And then you get one of those, and you get a tube amp expander. You're set. Straight into a 412.
Well, the whole reason, though, Matt, he built this is so that it's portable. If you get those, well, you can have that as a backline. Hopefully, maybe rent it wherever you are.
You can obviously rack mount it. So it looks very.
Well, it's still not suitcaseable. Using it with this kind of negates the reason why Joe made this.
Yeah.
But it's cool that you can, at bigger gigs, why not? Then you don't need a second amp.
Exactly.
This is pretty phenomenal. So I am very intrigued. Now, of course, the big question is, how good does it sound? We can talk. You're gonna say it's good, of course. Go away. We can talk features all day, and I like the features. And looks, who cares?
Yeah.
It's a tool. Not you, the thing. But bottom line is, which one, again, because I have them all, do I gravitate to because I just like playing it?
Yeah.
And that's going to be the big question.
I think that's the thing when you find because you use an amp-heat switching system, right?
Yes.
So you could hook a punch up through the amp-heat into that, and what you'll start to find is being able to dial in the resonance load. It's almost like there's nothing there, because it feels and responds exactly the same way. It's not feeling squashed. It's not feeling compressed.
To me, the Torpedo, for example, is the thing I use for modern sounds, because the aux doesn't go there.
Yeah.
The aux is all vintagey sounds. It doesn't even have vintage 30s.
Yeah.
The Torpedo, you can load whatever you want into it. In the aux, you can't. So I go for the Torpedo when I want the Mesa cap, the Rev cap. I want the metal-y stuff, because it very much caters to that world. To me, the aux is a thing because it's got the room.
Yeah.
That makes me feel more like the speaker's actually there.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see where that falls in.
And on the line outside of things, last thing to mention, it has got a bunch of cab sims built in, but you can also load your own IRs into it as well.
Well, then you can pretty much load up everything. Like Glenn Fricker's Lancaster Audio something IRs that he made of his cabs.
He already gave me his business card, so...
Download Glenn's things. Apparently they want to give me affiliate money, but I don't know. Just download them and you're welcome, Glenn. Put them in the tube amp expander. Now, you see, it's right there.
Tube amp expander.
I'm going to forget that every single time I have to say that. Just
I forgive you.
Okay, can I say the cool boss thing?
Yes. I'll leave you with that.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Jay, for the camera. He's already regretting it because it's heavy, right? Right. Thanks, Matt.
See you, sir.
I'm hoping to check this out.
We'll get one your way.
It looks, as the French say, le cool.
Only if you can run it through every single valve amp you've got.
No problem.
Okay.
I got many.
Okay. I look forward to that 3-hour epic video. And probably the editing to go with it.
Oh, this is going to be a minimum of an hour. No, it's going to be longer, she said. It's going to be longer.
It's got to be.
Should we do a two-parter?
It's up to you. I'll leave that in your very capable hands.
We could not look at the effects at all and do that in a separate video. And yeah, we'll
You can do live version, production version.
Live and production version is a good idea. Let's talk about possibilities because you know I'll go there, right?
Yeah.
You know I'll do it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Sorry guys, get the coffee ready. Links below. Animals at the end. No. Animals at the end. You know how that works. Bye bye.
I don't like your frown.